Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to another episode of the Iron Life Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Tutela, and first I want to kick this off by saying thank you guys. Thank you so much for your texts, your calls, your emails, your DMs, all of your comments and support that you guys have shown me over the last week. For those of you who follow me know that my dad passed away last week at the age of 69. And, it was definitely a rough one. It was a rough, emotional week. Definitely a bit surreal, and those of you who listen to the show know that my old man's been, he's been bedridden and pretty sick. He had a ton of health issues over the years. And, this was, kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. And, he had apparently kidney failure, which he was going through dialysis, but it's a whole long story. But the fact of the matter is that he is gone, and you guys have been asking how I'm doing, so I'm here to let you know that I'm doing okay. And I really, again, from the bottom of my heart, just want to say thank you for all of your ongoing support, because it does help. Even a simple comment, a simple message, when they come in, like they have been, and you're reading through these messages, knowing that you have people who care about you and have people that support you, it really truly does help. And, I shared the messages with my family as well. And my mother certainly appreciates all the support and love also. So I just want to say thank you guys. I can't tell you how much it means to me. And thank you. And so look, today I didn't have too much motivation to do a show. Still kind of going through this process, still dealing with some family stuff. But here's the thing. I want to make sure that I'm showing up for you, because I know that you might be going through a loss of a loved one. You might be going through a hard time. It could be a divorce. It could be anything that you're going through right now. And maybe my words have helped you and could help you to some degree, maybe 1%. And hey, if I could make that type of a change in your life, if I could give you that type of impact, then I'm happy to do it, and I'm happy to be here. And I think one of the things that I could certainly talk about today is kind of what I've been doing to kind of grieve and get through this. And that's, the one thing, because I've had several people kind of ask me that, like, how you doing? What are you doing to kind of get through these hard times? Because look, it's been a tough year. It's been a tough year. 2020 has just sucked all around. From a business standpoint, from, many different levels. But here's the thing, guys, and I think that this is one of the most important qualities that we could have, and something that I really strive to continue to work on. And that's, look, there could be chaos going on around you at all times. It could be death, breakups, divorce, losing your job, losing the business, people getting sick. All this chaos, it exists in the world. But it's out of your control. And how you show up is really one of the only things that's really going to matter, and the things that's going to help you get through it. Because if you look at what you don't have, and you try to change things that you can't change, and you try to control things that you can't control, then you're not going to heal. You're going to be living in a place where you're trying to fix things that are broken, or trying to change things that really don't want to change, or you can't change. And that's going to leave you in a place of depression, anxiety, overwhelm. I know this because I've been there, and I've worked on this shit over the last 15, 16 years. And so this past week, although, yeah, I've been crying, I've been sad, but I also understand that is part of this process. That's part of grieving. It's part of what we as human beings do. We mourn the loss of somebody that we love. And part of my grieving process here has been journaling. That's one of the things that has really helped me. It's been talking about it. I wrote a blog post on christutelo.com. You may have read it. That's one of the things that, I lost a dear friend a few years back too, and I wrote an article on it, and that's one of the things that really helps me as well, helps me get my emotions out, because as I'm writing that article, it is a very emotional time, and it kind of, that helps me with this entire process. I have my therapist on speed dial that I'm going to be torturing her with all of my problems for sure later this week. So, I'm sorry in advance to her. But and look, doing this show right now, being here talking about this, instead of holding this shit in, I want to express myself. I want to express myself to you, because to tie it back to how I started this, I know that if I'm helping you, then that's going to make me feel a little bit better too. If I can make you feel a little bit better, that's going to make me feel a little bit better, right? So maybe it's selfish of me, but I'm doing this show to express myself. And if there's some pain that you're going through in your life, maybe it can help you realize, hey, there's other people that are going through this shit too. And there's people that are going through shit that is way worse than what I'm going through right now, right? But we're never alone. We're never going through this exclusively by ourselves. There's people out there that have dealt with similar things, have dealt with worse things, and are dealing with them to this day. But how are you going to show up when this stuff shows up in your life? That's the big question, right? What are you going to do? Are you going to focus on just the bad, or are you going to control what actually is controllable, and that is yourself, right? I think a lot of times people make the excuse of when something happens that all of a sudden their diet goes to shit, their training goes to shit, they're not focused on themselves, and maybe for a short period of time, all right, that kind of makes sense, right? Because you just have a lot going on and a lot of emotions. But you can't drag that out for too long, because all of a sudden now your life is just going down this downward spiral because you're focused on these things that are just so far beyond your control, when you really need to focus on you. You need to focus on yourself. So training did not go out the window for me. The day of my father's wake, last Friday, I was training before. And guess what? Tears were pouring out of my eyes. Emotions were all over the place. But I had one of the best workouts that I've had in a long time because of that. And that's carried over to this week. And I'm still training. I had some people, some of my coaches, mentors, were a little upset with me because they know that my knee is a little jacked up and recovering. And even though it doesn't hurt, my meniscus is shredded to shit. But last week, I had a leg day that was an absolute therapy session for me, where I was just getting after it. I didn't put a bar on my back, but I did hit the pitch shark. So I was crushing, about 4 sets of 10 on that. I was probably doing some things that I shouldn't be doing right now with my knee the way it is. But I'll tell you what, it was the most fucking therapeutic thing for me. And it helped me. It got my emotions out. Because again, during that really hard workout, there were tears in my eyes. So the pain that I was experiencing physically was helping me cope with the pain that I'm feeling emotionally. So if I were to just do nothing, I would just be getting overwhelmed with this emotional pain and sadness, and the grieving process might be in an unhealthy way, right? But I'm not going to do that. I've learned over the years that I can't do that, because that's not going to help me. That's only going to make things worse. And it's the same exact thing for you. How are you dealing with this stuff? Are you still working on yourself? Because that is the only thing that is in your power. And I know that in my life's purpose of helping other people become stronger, become more resilient, become healthier, develop an iron mind, then I have to fucking lead by example. I can't expect you to do something that I wouldn't do myself. I couldn't give you advice if I wasn't taking that advice myself. I'd be a hypocrite. I'd be disingenuous, up here lying to you. I would never do that. I would never do that. When I'm up here, I do my best to speak my truth and tell you everything that's going on in my life. Sometimes, I had a couple texts, people saying that they appreciate how honest I've been about this process and how open I've been, about stories of my father and stories growing up. And of course, I'm grateful that people feel that way. But it's also so important for people to realize, hey, maybe you need to be a little bit more honest in your own life. Maybe you need to be a little bit open in your own life. I've watched my family have these top secret classified family secrets going on over the years. And that only made things worse. It only made things worse for everybody. So I'm never going to sit up here and bullshit you. I'm always going to shoot it straight and tell you how it is. And yeah, if I said, oh, I'm fine, everything's fine, I'd be lying to you. I'm going through it right now. It's normal, though, because I'm a fucking human being. You are a human being. When you experience loss or pain, you're going to be going through it. And that is normal. It's normal to feel sad. It's not going to be all highs, right? There's going to be highs and lows. There's peaks and valleys in this life. Unfortunately, I learned today that I have another low because my brother, after being clean for a year, just relapsed last night. So again, I told you that I was thinking about not being here today because of the emotional shit that's going on with, kind of mourning the loss of my dad. But now as my brother is, as we speak, high, there's only so much that I can do. And of course, like I've always done, like my family has always done, we're going to be there to help him if he wants the help. Because otherwise, we can't just live our lives trying to control something that cannot be controlled. We've learned this over the years, over the last 16 years. I'm not going to keep making the same mistake. And that might sound cold to some of you. But if you have an addict in your family, or maybe you were once an addict, then you know that it's out of your hands. You could try to coddle them. You could try to help them, but normally that help means you're enabling them, and you're not really helping. You end up doing more harm than you do good. And I've made that mistake. I've made it over and over and over again, and so have my family. But what are you doing in your life? Is there a pattern that you keep repeating? Do you keep making the same mistake and expecting a different outcome? It might not be with drug addiction. It might be with something else, maybe in your relationship. Are you in that toxic relationship where you keep fighting and you're expecting things to be different? Things aren't just going to change. And if you keep going back to the same thing over and over again, trying to fix things that are broken or trying to change things that you don't have the power to change, man, you're going to be spinning your wheels for a long time. And you're going to be stuck in your own life. You're going to be stuck in your relationship. You're going to be stuck in your business. You're going to be stuck in your health and your fitness instead of improving, instead of making strides and getting better. You might think that that's selfish. It's actually the most fucking selfless thing that you can do. Because by you working on yourself, one, it gives you the ability to help other people. If you are not in your strongest state of mind, if you are not in your strongest physical body, then how are you going to be able to help others? You're not. The other thing is that if you are not helping yourself, you're not setting the example for other people around you. The way you show up is how people, that will rub off on people. That's going to affect other people. So if people see you showing up and doing the same old thing, making the same mistakes, telling the same stories, then that's going to affect people too. They're going to do the same thing. They're not going to grow and get better because guess what? You're a product of your environment, the people that are surrounding you. Now, if you have people that are surrounding you that are crabs in the bucket pulling you back down, then it is your responsibility to get away from those people because it is not your job to fix them. You're not going to change the way they think. And if they keep grabbing you and pulling you down to their level, how the hell do you expect to grow? You can't. Sometimes that's family members. Sometimes it's childhood friends. People really close to you. It might even be your spouse. So how do you distance yourself? You have to figure that out. Is that going to be by limiting the conversations you have with those people if you're forced to be by them, like a coworker or something like that? Or does that mean just getting a new job? Does it mean limiting the conversations with a brother, an uncle, a cousin, a dad, a mom? Or does it mean cutting them out entirely? For the most part. Or for the most part, I should say. That's up to you on what you are willing to do, what you're prepared to do, understanding the circumstances, understanding the outcome, understanding the potential consequences. But ultimately, if you want to be your best self, it's necessary. It's a requirement. What books are you reading right now? Are you reading books? Are you listening to books on Audible? Well, if you're not, and you're just spending hours watching TV, then I would bet money you are not doing everything you can to get better, to move in the right direction, to get to the position in your life with your health, with your fitness, with your finances, with your relationships that you want to be in. We all want to get better. At least we all should want to get better. We all should want to improve. We should all do everything that is in our power to improve. So what are you missing? What's the common theme in your life? Are you happy? Because I can tell you this, even though I'm sad right now, I'm happy. I'm happy because I know what I do have in my life. I have you guys. I have my members at the gym, my TTS family. I have my team at TTS. I have people who depend on me. I have people who support me. And that is what makes me happy. Giving this information out, having this conversation with you, writing blog posts, putting up content on social media that could help you, that helps me. And I think that's in all of us, in all of our human nature. Helping other people is one of the most powerful things that you can do to help yourself. So if you're in a position right now, if you're in a little funk, if you're hurting, and believe me, I'm going through it right now, guys. I'm feeling this. But I feel so much better being up here right now, looking into this camera, talking into this microphone, talking to you, because I know that maybe, just maybe, this conversation right now can help you. And I feel good about that. I could sleep well tonight because I know that maybe this helped you. Even if it's just one of you out of the hundreds of people that listen to the show every week. Maybe it's one. And that's fine. I'm cool with that. But who can you help? How can you help them? Don't say you can't. Don't say, oh, I'm not a trainer or fitness. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be about fitness. You could help somebody. Could you volunteer at a fucking soup kitchen? Could you make a donation to Toys for Tots? And listen, Even if you are struggling, could you afford a $5 toy that you could donate? Hey, you just helped someone. You did a good deed. Feel good about that, right? So it doesn't matter. You don't have to be rolling in it to help other people. You can help a lady across the street. Simple acts of kindness, guys. That's what's going to really help you. And that is how I am getting through this. I wanted to share this with you today in hopes that it can help move you forward to some degree. And before I wrap up today, guys, I just want to thank you again for being there. I want to thank you for supporting me. And I want to thank you for listening to this show week in and week out. And I just hope that in some way, shape, or form, I have impacted your lives as much as all of you have impacted mine. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you next week on another episode of the Iron Life Podcast.